Good morning. Welcome to Walking Through Glass, the podcast, with your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is our Fearless Friday, and I am your host, Dr. Dina C. Brown, bringing you your daily dose of vitamin Dr. D. And I am so excited to come to you on this Friday and just share with you some words of wisdom, some, items to fill your cup, especially if you're dealing with some uncertainty in your life. And I want to share with you the fact that even though things may not look the way that you want them to look, might not feel the way you want them to feel, that everything is still working out in your favor if you just believe. And one of the most challenging things that we have to do is to have faith in the face of fear. So on this Fearless Friday, I just want to take you on a little journey about how to have faith in the face of fear. Okay? So if you think that life is perfect, if you're under the impression that because I talk about the clarity, the confidence, and the consistency that I've implemented in my life as part of my C3 blueprint, if you think that that removes me from any of the day-to-day challenges and even the idea or the concept of fear, you are wrong. I deal with fear every single day. Every single day. I've been able to manage my response to it, but every single day I deal with fear. And it's not necessarily on the grand scale, but the fact that it's still real, is still very poignant for me, and it still impacts me, makes it something that I celebrate when I get to chuck fear in the face. Because what I've decided is that fear doesn't get a vote, even though it actually does exist in my life, and I know in many of the lives of others. So in my present situation, this is exciting times, but it's also times of great ambiguity. Times when I'm not as clear as what's going to really happen. I know what I planned. I know what I've strategized. But the best thing that I know what God has promised me on the other side of my now. Not, on the other side when I get to heaven. I'm not talking about that. Honey, I got a long way to go and a lot to give and many things to do to impact the lives of others to be checking out anytime soon. And so when I begin to say, it's not what I see, it's what I know, it's helped me respond to those fear triggers. So one of the long-standing employment contracts that I've had for a while is coming to an end next week. And it is with bittersweet, but tons of joy that I move in my next direction. And even though I could have stayed a little bit longer, I know that it was important for me to move when God says move. I know that it's important for me to operate in my giftedness as opposed in just something to do because it was paying me that something so I can pay these bills. And so when I talk about that I deal with fear every single day, you have to understand as a mom, as a mother of a 17-year-old, 6'2", 260-pound African-American male, I deal with fear every day. And not just fear from outside forces. I deal with the fear of his personal and internal development, his consciousness, his cognizance about who he is. I deal with how I release him out when I let him go out. And he's a driver now. So when he goes out into the world and he's driving, he's an employee now. So he has a job when he goes out into that. And then also the fact that as long as, and as long as he's mine, which is the rest of his life, is that it is part of my responsibility to care for him. And at this point in time, as he's still a minor, he's 17, it includes financial, it includes physical, emotional, all of the above. And with that comes great expenses. So in a time in my life when things are changing and things are different, and God's saying now's the time to move in this direction, and that direction is a lot more uncertain, especially financially, then automatically, I'm sure my cortisone levels went through the roof. But you know what, though? I had to really own this fact that I trust God. I really do. And at first, I kind of wondered and said, do I? And I was making some decisions and all that other kind of stuff. And I was like, I really do. And he says, if you trust me and if you just move, when I say move. And so my level of obedience has gone up. And now I'm in a state of moving when he says move. Because the last time I didn't do that was in my prior career space. And I knew that it was time for me to go many moons ago. But I was trapped by golden handcuffs. I was so enraptured by the lifestyle, right? And the position and the power that I got disconnected from my purpose. And when my time was up and I was supposed to be moving and navigating in another direction that did not necessarily have all the glitz and the glam and the position and the power, I stayed too long. And when I stayed too long, it impacted me physically, mentally, emotionally, and, to a certain level, even professionally. So on this Fearless Friday, what I'm sharing with you is the real, true Hollywood transparent story, is that if you choose to faith it forward, and when you choose to not allow fear to just take over your purpose, your journey, your path, then it may be uncomfortable for a while, which is really the scary part. So here's what I understood. And here's what was my aha moment about my situation, is that I wasn't afraid of doing and starting. I was afraid of being uncomfortable during the process. Okay, I'll say that again. I have never been afraid of taking action and doing, and even making some choices, and what people say, making the great leap, because the way my brain is set up, I can see how it all scaffolds into some greatness. But what I do cognitively understand is that during the process, there will be discomfort. And what I didn't want to deal with, and what I was most afraid of, and maybe fear is maybe too strong of a word, what I didn't want to do and have to experience was that unknown involved in the process. Meaning it's not going to always be rainbows and butterflies. And there's going to be some struggle. There's going to be some times when things don't line up. Money or mindset. There's going to be some times when you're there and it's only you physically present there. But guess what? You got to stay the course. You got to keep showing up. You got to faith it forward. And you have to focus on what you see. Not focus on what you see, and focus on what you know. And when you begin to do that, that is when you truly get to actuate and manifest your purpose. And in that, when I'm speaking about purpose, I'm really speaking to what you're called to do. Yeah, you could do some other things. You can have some things that spiral and shoot off of that. And you definitely can profit from it. So do not get that part twisted. You can do all of those things. But you got to start with your purpose, what you're called to do. And when you start there, then the road and the journey, it's going to get tough. It's going to be hard. You're going to want to quit. But you have to stay the course. But here's the caveat. Here is the $50 million moneymaker. Okay? You don't have to go it alone. You don't. So while you're facing it forward, while you're facing fear head on, make sure that you have an earthly bound teammate, co-pilot, tribe to support you on that journey. You see, we go, well, as long, and I say this too, as long as I got Jesus, I don't need anybody else. Well, yeah, that's true, but that's not true. You were not made to be alone. You were not made to prosper alone. You were not made to do everything alone. You are here to be part of a bigger solution. Because you're here because you're somebody else's answered prayer. And so we need you to be ignited. We need you to drive forward. We need you to be bold. We need you to unleash all that you have in you in the face of fear. But again, like I said, you don't have to do it alone. And if you want some support and you want some help, then you definitely want to check out my Lead Her Shift Tribe. I have been away far too long. I started a group, start working in it, start doing some other stuff. But in this new season, I've come back full circle because I'm on a mission. I have a mission. I am reclaiming my purpose, right? Reclaiming my purpose. And my purpose is to transform, inspire, and empower women to tie everything together to live their very best life today. Part of that package is this podcast right here, Walking Through Glass, the upcoming 28-day mindset cleanse, and the book tour for Walking Through Glass, the ultimate guide to be sane, sexy, and significant in a male-dominated world. As I steam through the rest of 2019 and setting things up for a dynamically powerful 2020, I'm telling you that I'm reclaiming my purpose. And if I can help you and support you in reclaiming yours, please reach out. Thank you for sharing this podcast with someone that needs to hear this, because today you are going to face your fears. But first, it starts with you identifying it. So, what are you most afraid of? Speak it, write it down, and then let's get busy facing it so it doesn't sit as a roadblock for you. You see, my greatest fear is not being there for my son, being there for Xavier. My greatest fear was not being able to support him financially, spiritually, and emotionally. My greatest fear was not being the mom that he needed in the absence of the dad that he's always wanted to have in his life. So those were my fears. And today I realize that in order to face that, I have to be the optimal version of myself. And I'm going to do that today. So this Fearless Friday, I encourage you, face your fear and face it forward. And if you can do me a solid, as we grow this platform, grow this message, and reach out to touch the lives of women on a global scale, I ask you to partner with me in this journey, because we can't do it alone. I can't do it alone, nor do I want to do it alone. So I appreciate you, and I'm excited for you as you begin to pull back the layers and face your fears and call that thing a thing, right? And this is your daily dose of Vitamin Dr. D for your Fearless Friday. And I look forward to seeing you back again on Monday. Bye-bye.